Hey there, and welcome to this week's Sunday Musings, where every week I spend a little time talking about something that's on my mind. Welcome to another book discussion. I'm really excited this month to talk about a new book that was not even on my list, but I was listening to I think it was an HBO special with Brene Brown on her new book, Atlas of the Heart, and I was hooked. And I just had to bump it to the very top of my long reading list. So, Atlas of the Heart. You might see from this book that I have been busy. I have been highlighting. I have been reading. I have listened to it on an Audible book. In fact, it's one of those times where listening to the Audible book while I was walking and traveling didn't cut it. It was great. I love listening to Brene talk about the books or to narrate her own writing. But I needed more. I needed to be able to see and touch and feel a book. So even the Kindle wasn't okay. Now, I did listen to the whole thing on Audible, and then I picked up the book and curled up with it. And it's a pretty fast read or a pretty slow one. It depends on how you go about it. But it hits on the foundation of something I think is incredibly important, which is communication and language. To borrow from the book and directly in Brene's words, language is our portal to meaning making, connection, healing, learning, and self-awareness. Language shows us that naming an experience doesn't give the experience more power. It gives us the power of understanding and meaning. That's impressive. Language is complex. It's formed of the words we speak and the emotions behind it and the language that our body and our tone. All of that is part of language. You might argue with me and say language is just based on the words, but I will put it back to you for a moment and say, did you ever have that moment when your mom or your dad just looked at you? And in that look was an entire speech and volume, and you understood. Or I remember as a kid, suddenly a finger would come out of nowhere, and all I needed to know was that finger was there, and I had an entire language. So I will argue that language is more than just words. However, I am a firm believer that understanding and having common definitions and foundations of understanding of what words mean is crucial to having effective conversations and really to truly understanding. And that's why this book absolutely appeals to me. Atlas of the Heart has sections, 13 of them, that talk about emotions and go into each of the emotions and talks about primary emotions and supporting emotions. Things like bittersweet, things like envy versus jealousy, and really goes into the dive of what they are, what they mean, example stories maybe of when you would use them. So it's really logical and helps us understand how words matter. Knowing the difference between jealousy and envy is huge. We often use them wrong, and those words can have an impact internally within us and really adjust how our body reacts, because words help us identify our emotions. And by naming them, sometimes that's all we need to do to feel them differently. I think this is one of the best books I've read in a long time, really truly addressing the language that we speak, the language that we feel. There's not enough out there that really addresses the foundational feelings that we go through and experience every day. Hopefully not all of them every day. But I really want to invite you to take some time and pick this book up. I'm not going to go through all 13 chapters. I'm not going to go through all of the emotions listed, but I am going to tell you that if you read it with an open mind and a willingness to learn, you will learn more about how you personally feel and the feelings you have and how they impact you and how others around you are. And I think it's really crucial to understand that, especially in today's world where we have a mixture of generations, of experience, of virtual and in-person communications, of a whole world where people spend their lives texting and emojis, and instead of using correct words, we have cute subwords that are supposed to portray jealousy jelly. When really, are you jealous or are you just envious? Because jealousy doesn't ring as nicely, but being envious that somebody has something that you might admire is so much more impactful than saying, I'm jealous. Because jealousy is a divider. And it's really based around relationships, whereas envy can be based around things. Food for thought. I hope you have a chance to read this book, and I would love to have a conversation with you on your thoughts. And until next time,